That is because it could have massive implications on the balance of power in the Senate. The damage in Juniata County is bad, but the damage here in Perry County is also significant. This was a road, and you can see that now half of it is completely collapsed, and part of that guardrail that goes over the Buffalo Creek went with it. I'm going to have you kind of walk with me just to show you what's going on, because more people are starting to trickle in. And of course, they are absolutely here for Senator Martin, but they're also really here because of the other major races that are happening tonight. And because of that assassination attempt, there is extra security. Nick, I'm actually going to have you turn your camera. You can see police here on horseback. They've been kind of coming up and down this road. What's your take on that? And what's most important to you as a voter? I've come here to ruin everyone's night. I mean, why go to Spirit Halloween and spend hundreds of dollars on a blow-up spider when you can have this lovely thing in your backyard? Researchers have spotted the Juro spider at a home in Bucks County, not very far. And if one of these guys is not enough for you, they actually found 6. You could very well be doing that for the Harris campaign. Why not? It is not difficult to see why residents are being asked to leave their homes after this fire tore through this apartment building.
Sarah Willson is a perfect person to do this, and she joins us now. Sarah.
Alicia, Valerie, so many topics were discussed. Everything from the crisis in the Middle East to social media and the economy. It was clear that both candidates had very different visions for the Commonwealth, and they went after each other to make that known. He says this is one of the worst, if not the worst storm, James, that he has seen in all of his time here. Experts I spoke with agree that this is a defining moment for both candidates. It is the only debate they have agreed to, so it's likely this will be the only time they're on stage together. Less than 24 hours ago, 32-year-old Justin Moan was arrested here after scaling this military fence behind me. Perry has made it very clear he wants to secure the border. He believes we need to, but says this is not the way to do it. Valerie, good evening. Yet another high-profile race and debate happening in our studio. He was only about 500 feet away from the former president, where he was speaking outside. The former president's motorcade came right here down along Cameron Street just before 5:30 this evening. 20 cars, 6 motorcycles. A chaotic and terrifying scene in western Pennsylvania tonight. Former President Donald Trump swarmed by Secret Service agents and rushed off the stage during a campaign rally in Butler County. The Secret Service says this was a possible assassination attempt. The former president saying a bullet grazed his ear. Good evening, I'm Sarah Willson. We thank you for joining us. We do not know exactly what happened or the condition of the president, but if you take a live look at your screen, you can see hundreds of people now leaving that convention. Again, this is in Butler, Pennsylvania, a Donald Trump rally. He was escorted off the stage by Secret Service. That breaking news coming out of the Dauphin County prison tonight. Police are investigating after a 13-year-old girl was shot to death in Harrisburg. Now officially the Democratic nominee for president, Vice President Kamala Harris is set to choose her running mate in the coming days, and it could be a familiar face. President Biden says a ceasefire and hostage agreement between Israel and Hamas is closer than ever. We now know tonight that 3 teenagers were taken into custody, all because of firearms. A massive wildfire is spreading at a rate of about 5,000 acres per hour. It's potentially good news for bars and restaurants. Governor Shapiro recently signed a bill that could expand happy hour. Mackenzie Gerald spoke with local bar owners. Back in Harrisburg, police are investigating a shooting near the Sunoco gas station at the corner of North 6th and Division Street.
Yeah,
it's
that's
fall.
good too.
Get your pumpkin spice.
That's right.
We'll join you for it at 11. A path of destruction left by Debbie. Heavy rain and high winds knocking down trees, flooding roads, and destroying homes.
It almost looks like a nuclear bomb hit.
Bellevue Park in Harrisburg bearing the brunt of it.
You know, where we're standing here, you go 3 blocks in either direction, and it is clear, and everything in between is you know, a path of devastation and destruction.
Neighbors saw it firsthand. Kent Hurst, perhaps more than anyone.
I was terrified. I was screaming.
He says he heard what sounded like a freight train, and then
everything collapsed on me, and I was buried in wood and insulation.
It was from that tree. He's okay, but his home and so many others in the neighborhood are not.
As soon as we walked out, we were just in absolute disbelief.
The damage is different, but the stories and the shock are similar.
We were woken up about 4:30 with the sound of the wind and then things hitting the roof and then just all mayhem breaking loose.
We got lucky. It's terrible. I mean, it's the most freakish thing that's ever happened to us as homeowners.
But through it all, a symbol of hope. An American flag that stood for decades, now dangling proudly on a fallen tree.
Thank God everybody's safe, nobody was hurt, things can be fixed.
We need all hands on deck.
Thousands of supporters flocking to the Mid-State for Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump in his first visit to Pennsylvania since the attempt on his life.
Put his fist in the air, said, "Fight, fight, fight." So happy. My mom, she was in tears.
If something would have happened to him, I don't know what tomorrow would have looked like.
Oh my gosh, I mean, your heart just stops. I mean, it was just shocking, terrifying.
Security concerns among supporters minimal, with Secret Service and police on horseback swarming the area.
Honestly, I don't want to get shot at, but I'll risk it to be here.
2 rows of women for Trump. My favorite's probably just the women. Our country was doing great when he was in.
An ABC Ipsos poll shows the former president's favorability dropping, but those here today with him 100%.
I feel like when he speaks to me. It's like very realistic. He talks about real problems. He doesn't lie to us about statistics and stuff like that.
They're also fearing for the future.
I think that we're really fighting a war against civil rights and freedoms.
The newest generation is being indoctrinated. They're not being taught how to think, how to analyze. They can't tell lies from the truth, and it's sad.
Now, a lot of times at rallies like this, there are counter-protests. People here upset that the former president is speaking. At least that has been the case in the past. But Alicia, that is not the case this time. I spoke with somebody from the Harris campaign, and they tell me that they are just not going to risk it given what happened in Butler County. Hatred of federal employees and a mission to mobilize the military against them. That's what the Bucks County District Attorney says may have led Justin Moan to shoot his father and cut his head off with a knife.
Our hearts ache for the Moan family.
The horror began Tuesday night when Moan's mother, Denise, came home and found her husband, 68-year-old Michael Moan, decapitated. Her son, Justin, who lived with them, gone. Police say he killed his father, then fled after posting a 14-minute politically charged rant online where he called for the torture and murder of federal employees. His father was one. He worked for the Army Corps of Engineers.
During the video, Justin Moan advised that Mike Moan is in hell for being a traitor to his country.
Justin then made his way to the National Guard base at Fort Indiantown Gap, Lebanon County.
He drove his vehicle past the barricades first, exited his vehicle, climbed a barbed wire fence, and entered the secured military installation.
His mission, the DA said, convince the military to mobilize and together raise arms against the federal government.
He also indicated that he wanted to speak to Governor Shapiro to join forces.
Police say they found him with a loaded handgun missing 1 round that he legally bought the day before.
In fact, our investigation has revealed that he surrendered his medical marijuana card so as to be eligible to legally possess a gun.
That, the DA says, shows Moan knew what he was doing.
This individual was acting with clear mind, aware of his actions, and proud of his consequences.
The DA says Moan has no known history of mental illness and no violent record.